Hey, so have you been trying improv classes to help with your social anxiety? So you want to be able to think on your feet, you want to be more witty, you want to have more fun, but when you're back in the social situation, you still freeze, you still go blank, you still can't find those words and think on your feet and find that natural wit. Okay, so if that's something you're experiencing, you're in the right place. I'm gonna break down why improv classes are not going to help you think on your feet when you have social anxiety. And I'm gonna show you the approach you should be taking. So let's not waste any time, let's dive right in. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Rubin and I help individuals get relief from and eliminate their social anxiety attacks. So the blank mind, the racing heart, the feeling like you can't breathe, the trembling, the shaking, the shaky and embarrassing voice. So if that's something you experience, consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell notification beside it so that you can be notified of when I release helpful videos just like this one. And so you're probably experiencing this whether it's a work setting or maybe a more social gathering, but you're in a group and it's like your brain doesn't work in the way that the other people's brains work because they're in the conversation, they're giving opinions, they're being creative with their words. They're being witty. One person makes a statement and then another one takes that statement and they start playing off of that statement and you think, how did you even come up with that? Like, how did your brain get so creative and come up with that? My brain just doesn't work like that. And oftentimes this leads to feelings of inadequacy or I'm not like the other people. I wish I had that ability, that type of thinking. And so what do? You jump on Google, right? And you Google how to think better on your feet, how to develop your wit, and right away, the suggestion is improv classes. Now, just a heads up, I have absolutely nothing against improv classes. I think they are an absolutely incredible, such a beautiful thing to get out there and get your creative juices flowing. But you should never run before you can walk. And what do I mean by that is before you can jump to the wittiness and the fun, you have to create safety and trust within yourself. Trust in yourself, and you have to develop that ability to feel safe in your environment first before you can let go and let loose. Okay, it's just like riding a bike. You're not gonna jump on a bike and start pedaling and go all out without riding it with training wheels first, or having somebody guide you and hold the bike for you as you're pedaling and getting used to it first. If you jump into it way too fast, if you just jump on the bike, you're likely to get injured, right? You're likely to beat up on yourself. You're likely to quit, which is the similar thing with your social anxiety. It's like you get motivated and you go hard, right? You go to all your classes and you go to improv, Toastmasters, all of these things. And then all of a sudden you realize it's not working and then you end up over here, depressed, feeling stuck, okay? So you really want to break this pattern. Now let me show you here exactly what's happening internally, okay? I wanna show you this board here. Now, all humans, we have a nervous system, right? We have a nervous system that takes in information from our environment and pulls it through our 5 senses, okay? The human nervous system. So over here, that is our input, okay? So all our input comes in through our 5 senses. Now you're gonna see here, let me see if I can pull this back here, get my face in here at the same time. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see that. So we got input in the boxes here. Input, you got the thalamus. Think of this as just the routing. You take in the information and it just routes it to a certain area of the brain. So we have relay underneath. Then we have the amygdala, the emotional part of your brain. And then we have the hippocampus, okay, which is linked to memory, okay? And then up here, we have cortex, the prefrontal cortex, which is where you do your thinking. That's where the thinking on your feet comes from. The thinking, your intellect, the wittiness, okay? That comes from your cortex. Now, when you have social anxiety though, you'll see that when you take in the input, it goes extremely fast to the emotional part of your brain. Okay, extremely fast. So right when you take in the information, your emotional brain fires off very quickly. And when that that brain fires off very quickly, it tends to override this front part, the prefrontal cortex, where all your thinking and your wit is, okay? Now, you'll see over here, this is when the information, it goes to both the emotional, it goes both to the emotional and the prefrontal cortex, but it goes slower. It goes slower here, okay? So it rides back right to the emotional brain, and because it's going so slow to your prefrontal cortex, so when it comes time for you to respond back to what people are saying, the statements they're making, okay, there's too much emotion going on within yourself that it's going to be extremely difficult. Even if there's enough emotions, you'll just go completely blank and you won't have any words because this thing is completely shut down. And so how do you override this, right? Is you'll see over here is emotions and memory, okay? When you get put, let's say you're in a group and somebody tries to banter with you. Okay? Somebody tries to banter with you and you end up getting too sensitive. You can't tell if they're joking or not and you're taking it too seriously. Okay? Why is that? Is because that when you're taking in that input and your brain's firing off a response, it's going back to a memory where you were probably bullied or people were making jokes at your expense and they actually weren't jokes, okay? So the next time somebody makes a joke, your brain goes down and it accesses, okay? That's really important. It accesses a certain memory, okay? And when it accesses that certain memory, that memory is linked to certain emotions. And remember, when you have too much emotion going on, there's no way to think on your feet. Okay, and so the key becomes, you probably heard a lot of people, they'll do, you can work at the emotional layer, right? People do energy releasing, they do emotional releasing to get down the emotional overwhelm, okay? Also, what people do is they rework the memory. So they'll go back to the memory and they'll rework what actually happened in that memory, okay? So let's say you got humiliated by a bully who was cracking jokes at you in a group, and it was it led to so much shame. And so what you would do is you go back into that memory of when you were younger as your adult self and rework it, right? Like beat up the bully, stand up to the bully, those types of things, okay? And then what happens, okay? So actually, and in Trigger Free, we actually work on both, okay? Because what I found is it's not just good enough to work on the memory, and it's not good enough to just rework the emotions. Because if you rework the emotions, and everybody's doing this, oh, just feel your feelings, bring up the feelings and just feel your feelings. It's not enough because they're all tied to specific memories. Your subconscious mind is just a huge memory bank of everything you've experienced in your life. And so ultimately, when the memory is reworked and there's not overwhelming emotions linked to that memory, that creates safety, okay? It puts you on this baseline safety and trust. Because the next time somebody tries to banter with you, okay, they banter with you, or you're in a group and somebody's being super witty, it doesn't lead to all of these feelings of inadequacy. Or it doesn't, if somebody's trying to banter with you, it doesn't bring up all of this past humiliation inside you. And when this doesn't get triggered up, okay, your brain logs that, your subconscious mind logs that as, hey, maybe it's safe now, right? I'm not in those past toxic situations anymore. I'm not getting bullied in my current life, okay? Now maybe it's safe. Maybe I can relax now. Every single time this input, every time this whole thing fires, okay? Your subconscious mind logs that. Okay, maybe it's safe. And then you get repetitions of safety and trust. And then you can develop your wit. Because why? Because when there's enough safety here, is this prefrontal cortex, this part of your brain, it's going to go faster than this bottom track here. So the track to your emotions is going to be slowed down, and the prefrontal cortex is going to be faster. And what does that mean? When you have a response, it's going to be fueled with your intelligence and your wit. And then the beautiful thing that happens is because you feel so safe and you have trust within yourself, you just say the first thing that's on your mind because you feel safe to do so. And then what is it? That's witty in itself. Okay, you'll notice that if you ever ask that person, I used to ask them all the time, like, how did that come to you? Like, how did you even think of that? Like, I don't know. I just said what was on my mind. That's all I did. I didn't do anything special. I don't know. I'm just saying what I feel, right? That's the wittiness. Now, when you do that, okay, so the first kind of phase, safety and trust, okay, safety and trust. And then you're going to start, when you start saying what's on your mind and you start to get different feedback from people and people start to say, hey, that was really funny, okay? Oh, how'd you even think of that? And you get to start getting that feedback. You create a new memory bank of wins, okay? So now, every time, that's when you start building that confidence, because now when the input comes in and somebody tries to banter with you, it's not flashing back to these old traumatic memories, right? It's going to start remembering your wins, and it's going to remember that routing that happens. It's going to pull from different memories that are linked to feel-good emotions, okay? Now, when it leads to feel-good emotions, they release different hormones into your blood. Stress hormones, you know, traumatic memories, those types of things, when that stuff gets triggered up, it dumps cortisol, it dumps adrenaline into your blood. It contracts your body. It takes over your muscular system and shuts it down, okay? It shuts down your brain. Feel-good hormones do the absolute opposite. Okay, so if you're going to those improv classes and you're doing those exercises like five things, it's, like I remember going to improv and trying those things. And I remember, this is really funny, because I remember going and they were talking about one of the categories they were doing the 5 things for. They were talking about family. And at that point, I was so bitter, resentful to my family of origin. And so they said five things and they passed it to me. And then I said things like toxic. I said drama. And I started going way too deep. And the other people were like, whoa, chill. Because I was getting so, you could see it in my face. It was actually really embarrassing. So remember, what I was doing to bring this all back, what I was doing in that moment by going to those improv classes is I was trying to run before I could walk. I was working on the wit and thinking on my feet before I had safety inside, internally in here, and I had a wholehearted trust in myself. Okay, and so to develop that safety and that trust, what you can do is download my free guide. I'm gonna link it below the video. I highly recommend taking a deep dive on that, because it's going to show you, remember we talked about the emotions and the memories, it's going to show you how to get down to all of those things, how to figure out what those memories and what those emotions are, okay? Why your body does not feel safe. Why is there no trust inside you that is preventing you from saying what's on your mind, okay? What is preventing, essentially, that intellectual mind from engaging in all of your social interactions? Because at the end of the day, we know social anxiety it's not rational. The rational mind goes out the window. We want that rational mind back. Okay, so highly recommend checking that out. And also what you can do is follow me on Instagram. I got daily tips, content, inspiration, just a ton of helpful info to help you along your recovery journey. And also we have a Facebook group, so I'll link both of those below the video as well. You can join the Facebook group, come in there and connect with people. It's a great community. You can share what's on your mind there. You can ask me questions and get the clarity that you need, okay? So, and if you liked the video, if you found it helpful, please like and subscribe. And cheers to you and your ability to build that safety and trust within you. All right, so I'll see you in the next one.